All right, we're talking rain this morning. Cloud cover and rain coming on through. It's just going to be a cloudy, wet, cool day. How cool? And when this all passes, we'll let you know coming up. This is what you need to know. This is going to be our wettest, coolest, nastiest day of the week. So keep that in mind before you head on outside. Also, we're seeing the showers to come on down. Some moderate downpours mainly into the upstate. This has been pretty persistent over the last couple of hours. Anywhere from 29 towards Roebuck, off towards Cross Anchor. It's going to be those areas in the yellow like Woodruff south into Great Court and Clinton, Honeypath, Piedmont area towards Liberty. We are seeing some moderate downpours even outside of that, filled in with just straight light rain. Off towards Hoopers Creek into the Blue Ridge, Saluda down south towards 25, and then upwards towards Lester, all of us seeing the rain, pairing with temperatures that are a little chilly out there. So you are going to want that coat, something with a hood, or at least grab the umbrella to keep yourself dry. Low to mid 50s in the mountains. Mid to upper 50s for the upstate, and as well paired with fog. So it's going to be a nasty drive. I'm sure Chris is going to tell you the same thing, most likely wherever you're at. Asheville towards Greenville, seeing about 4 miles worth of visibility. That's the worst of it. You do want that number 10 for the clearest drive. Next 12 hours, expect a lot of rain to come and go. We're going to have waves of it coming on through and staying in the 60s. So it's also pants, long sleeves, coat, maybe full-on coat throughout the day. Just continuing to stay a little bit cooler out there because of this wedge setup. We'll let you know when it erodes, when we're going to see breaks throughout the day of this rain and all that coming up later. But let's see back, everyone. This is what we're dealing with. Welcome to the rainy, cold, cool day. So grab the rain gear before you head on outside. After we get done with this round that's going to come on through, we're still going to have more rain to come. But talking about the rain, we're seeing some areas that are clearly wet with some moderate to heavier downpours in the yellows there. It's going to be off towards GSP Airport into Woodruff, Fountain Inn, Easley. If you're off towards the west of Easley, really we're seeing some drier air build in. From West Pelzer down towards Belton, though, still seeing a decent amount of rain from Lake Secession towards Abbeville and Greenwood. Off towards really areas into the southeast, we are seeing this continue through the 7-8 o'clock hour and still going to build in through about 8 to noon, I will say. Afternoon, though, we do get that break. Now we're still going to see a good chance of an isolated shower to roll on through the upstate from about 1 to 3, but seeing a little bit of a break here and there from about 1 to 5 in general across the area. Then we build back in more widespread showers, even off towards the upstate, building in maybe even some heavier bits of rain here and there. Just a nasty day. I'm going to be straight up honest with you. Temperatures in the upper 50s to the low 60s, so we are going to be cooler than average. Going to have a little breeze on top of this, all because of this wedge setup. So cloudy and damp today, just gross with highs in the 50s and 60s, well below average because of this cold air wedge. We are going to see this erode, though, into tomorrow, so it doesn't last long. By the afternoon, things really start to heat up. We almost have a 20-degree jump going from the low 60s to the upper 70s to low 80s tomorrow into Thursday and Friday. Plus, more rain chances on the way, but I can tell you it's not going to come back, everyone. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Katherine N, and, of course, pants in the t-shirt, long sleeve, something to keep yourself warm. We have temperatures in the mid to upper 50s with those low 60s, so it's just a nasty day. Again, you can see those rain icons going across. We do have that just built on in for your Tuesday, and so we're going to stay in the 60s, a low 60. Cloudy, just nasty out there. You can clearly see the rain on our First Alert radar. We have had this coming on down the last several hours. It continues with moderate downpours into areas over 85, Spartanburg down towards Roebuck, into Woodruff, Great Court into Clinton, Malden. These are all the areas that are seeing that heavier bits of rain into Greenville and Honeypath off towards Lake Hartwell. Mountains getting a little bit clearing now. This is looking better, but Lester off towards Black Mountain into Hoopers Creek and Blue Ridge and Saluda still seeing that rain. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s across the area. So again, stepping out to just kind of a cool, gross morning at this point. Visibility is not too bad. We're not looking at any thick fog, but this could diminish as we go on into the next couple of hours, at least in terms of those visibility numbers going down. So not looking great. Expect the roadways to be wet. We'll tell you this. Temperatures staying in the upper 50s to low 60s today. A little break towards the afternoon and evening. Your afternoon forecast showing that it's going to be cool, and we're going to talk more about what you can expect on the roadways coming up here. We'll see if you have any sort of accidents you need to be looking ahead to if you're going to be heading out here this morning. Of course, we got to ask Chris Scott. Most of us to this Tuesday, we have this cool air wedge bringing in showers, cloudy, cool conditions. Most of this rain off towards Greenville and Anderson and off towards the east and south. Some little bits of moderate downpours here and there within this wide shield of light rain from Boiling Springs down towards Spartanburg, seeing some moderate showers into the Fountain Inn area, Lawrence, Great Court, and Honeypath. 85 over 25 into Greenville County and then off towards north of Easley. Into Belton and Honeypath, down towards Waterloo. Again, 96 south into Lawrence is where we're seeing most of this, even off towards Lake Secession in terms of moderate showers. But all of us pretty much getting the rain at some point today. This morning, we're going to see this continue to move off towards the east, widespread through about 10, 11 o'clock. Then we're going to start to see breaks coming in from the west towards the east by 1. Expect an afternoon shower possible, staying with straight rain today, no thunderstorms likely, but then seeing a little bit of a dry break from about 1 to 5 before the showers start to come in from the west again, building into Pickens and Oconee County from Anderson, northeastern Georgia around 5, 6 o'clock. Off towards Greenville, 7, we're looking at widespread rain across the upstate before this wedge starts to erode and get on out of here. But because of this wedge, temperatures in the upper 50s to low 60s, a little bit of a wind today and a whole lot of cloud cover, keeping us very mild, well below average for this time of year. Cloudy and damp. You can see this cool air wedge building across the day today, but then into tomorrow, we're going to start to see it erode and we warm up a good almost 20 degrees into the next several days. So back to a little bit of a humid condition out there. Definitely warmer and thunderstorm chances into the next several days, but just not as widespread. So today is just more of that wet, rainy day in general, cool and cloudy. And then as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, things do heat up. We have a chance of maybe some severe storms, which we'll talk more about in the 7 o'clock hour for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A cold front to come on in, bringing skies still going to be in place, and that's going to be the key as we go on throughout the day today, bringing down those temperatures, making it cooler. This cold air wedge bringing in also some just nasty wet conditions, which we are still seeing in some portions of the upstate. But like we mentioned, getting some clearing into downtown Greenville. Simpsonville on the edge, seeing this rain. Roebuck down towards Pauline into Cross Anchor. A bit of a moderate shower into Whitmire, into Clinton and Gray Court and Honeypath as well. Flat Rock off towards the south is where we're seeing this rain just continue to build across the upstate, but again, moving east, but stepping out to some cooler conditions. There's a little bit of a chill in the air as you step out. Low 50s to mid 50s, so make sure to grab that sweater, that jacket, and one with a hood too for today. Some fog, but at least nothing too intense out there. I will say Anderson, you have dropped in your visibility. 1 mile worth visibility even off towards Lawrence, so probably some of the thickest fog within that area. The next 12 hours, expect just not the most beautiful day. It's the best way to put it, right? Temperatures only in the low 60s is where we tap out today around 2, 3 o'clock. A little bit of cloud cover during this time, getting a break, but the rain is going to be back for us towards the afternoon and evening. We're not quite done with it even as we go on throughout the week, but today will be the nastiest day. Keep that in mind. Temperatures will warm. We're going to get back to the 80s, you guys, and some drier, sunnier days. We'll talk about wind coming up later, but let's talk about those roadways now with Chris Scott. How's it looking, Chris?
Yes.
Area down towards Lawrence, still seeing some wet conditions. Zooming in a closer look at exactly where we're seeing them. It's going to be into Spartanburg, Gaffney, down towards West Springs, and across Anchor, Whitmire. Some more moderate downpours there built into Gray Court and Lawrence and Ware Shoals as well into West Pelzer. And we're going to continue to see this rain build off towards the east into the coming hours here, but still starting to see little breaks and pieces of it. This one model showing a little bit of a longer output, at least for those widespread showers. But I do think over the next couple of hours, we're going to really see this diminish. By the afternoon, we have a better shot of at least seeing some drier conditions out there. Still going to be cloudy and cool. Isolated shower possible from about 1 to 3. But beyond that, we are going to see some rain chances build in towards the west, back again into Pickens and Oconee County from Anderson into Toccoa, northeastern Georgia, coming around dinner time. So when people are headed home from work too, building from 5 to 7, more widespread until the overnight time frame where we start to erode this wedge. So because it is a wedge setup, cloud cover is sticking around all day long. Temperatures in the 50s here for us, the mid to upper 50s to the low 60s. So it is going to be a cool day, pants, sweatshirt kind of day. A comfortable day if you can stay inside. Not so comfortable if you're going to be outside just because of what's going on weather-wise. Cool and rainy. Temperatures in the low 60s. Here's that wedge building over the last 24 hours, but we start to erode it overnight into tomorrow, and we warm things up. Almost about a 20-degree jump for us into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So highs will start to build again, going back to the upper 70s to low 80s. Warm weather is on the way. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we stay in the low 80s to upper 70s, but still have some rain chances. We get the surge of warmth on Wednesday with a chance of showers, still going to be isolated into Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. A cold front to come on through before We do have a beautiful weekend forecast here. Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Gear. This is going to be key before you head outside today. Cloud cover, temperatures staying in the low 60s. So if you're going to be outside today. So not the best day, probably the worst of the week, to be a matter of fact here. We do have rain off towards the east of most of us this morning. You can see if you're in Greenville and off towards the west, you're in the clear. But that's not all of us here across the upstate. Showing Spartanburg, south towards Pauline, West Springs into Cross Anchor, even some moderate downpours here towards Clinton south. As we go to Simpsonville south too, the rain does continue. Again, it's a bit of a chill when you step outside. You open that doorway, you kind of get slammed with it here. Low to mid 50s, so grab that outer layer, maybe one with a hood too when you talk about jackets or coats, because you will certainly need it later on today, despite the clearing that we're seeing. But not all of us seeing clearing in general, although, I mean, this fog, for, 1 second it's there, it's looking thick in Anderson and Lawrence, and now we're not looking so bad. So just watch out for it today in general over the course of the next couple of hours. Otherwise, we do have cloud cover and rain chances sticking around again back towards the afternoon, evening, things building with that cool air wedge, keeping us in the 60s. So it is cool today. Let's see how it's looking on the roadways there this morning, and I'm sure we all can guess how it's looking. Chris Scott about the roadways here coming up in a little bit, but let's go straight to what's happening outside right now. The rain is still coming down in certain areas. Spartanburg right over 85, south of 85 into Pacolet, West Springs, Union, down towards Whitmire. A lot of this is just going to be some scattered light rain, but those yellows are out there into Spartanburg County, off towards West Springs and Union, where we're seeing some moderate downpours, even Woodruff south. So really, we're going to get clearing of this. This is looking a little widespread for what we're going to see. This is more of what's going to happen into the next couple of hours. So expect the afternoon to be fairly dry, with an isolated shower chance to scoot on in from the west towards the east. A lot of cloud cover, but coming back in a bit more scattered to widespread the rain in general towards about 5, 6 o'clock from Toccoa towards Anderson, moving off towards the east, widespread up until the overnight time frame. So keeping our highs a little bit cooler, we can say, than what we normally do get this time of year. 60 in Union, 60 in Great Court, upper 50s, just a nasty cloudy day again, even outside of the rain chances. 61 in Belton towards Liberty, 60 in Seneca. Off towards the mountains, the upper 50s to low 60s for you. Blame it on the cool air wedge. This is why we have this setup in place, and that's why we have cool, cloudy, nasty day ahead of us. Before tomorrow, the warmth will come back into play, going from the low 60s to the upper 70s. So quite a difference in the next 24 hours. Changes ahead, even showing we do have a chance of some isolated thunderstorms on Wednesday. We'll talk about the severe threat potential here in a second. Thursday and Friday, backup plans are probably going to be needed, specifically on Friday afternoon, evening. If you plan on getting outside, no severe threat those days. Really just the only severe threat we have this week does come on Wednesday, with more warmth into our atmosphere at this point. Anderson to Lawrence and Greenwood, those are going to be the areas where we could see some damaging winds and some hail. This is why we do have it highlighted. Cross Anchor, Woodruff, all of this yellow showing some nice moderate downpours into due west, Ware Shoals, Clinton, Whitmire south over 26 into Honeypath. Again, Easley and Greenville starting to build up those shower chances. It's keeping us cool. We are in the 50s here this morning for most of us, mid to upper 50s, but still nonetheless, it's a 50 out there, with seeing some fog building in off towards the east of Greenville. Spartanburg a little foggy, down towards Union, even up towards Rutherfordton. So next couple of hours this morning, we're going to see those showers continue from about 9 to 1, a break towards the afternoon, cloud cover, but rain timing showing you we get a little break before we get that last blast due to this cold air wedge into the evening. And we'll talk more about this big warm up ahead of us coming a little bit later, guys. Back to you.
All right, Catherine. Right now, we're going to get to your 8 things at 8 at 8:02 this morning. Let's start in Anderson County.
A chase and a crash sends a driver running from deputies, and it was all caught on camera. Just take a look. This is the video that a viewer sent in.
Just off towards the east into Woodruff area. So expect this to potentially build in the next couple of hours. The rain, the cloud cover, the cool weather, it is sticking around on and off all day long. On and off when it comes to the rain, but the coolness and the cloud cover, you will continue to see it. And here's that on and off for the rain. It's almost like a switch that we're going to turn by about the afternoon, noon, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. Yes, we could see an isolated shower pass through, but mainly we're going to be off to a drier output than what we've had this morning and what we're going to see for this evening. So building back in those shower chances, Pickens and Oconee County getting it first coming in from the west towards Anderson, northeastern Georgia. This is going to be around the 5 o'clock time frame when a lot of people are headed home from work. We're going to see this uptick and kind of spread spread out, move off towards the east, and fill in more widespread light rain 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock before we do get this out of here. So a nasty day all in all. Cloud cover, upper 50s to low 60s, maybe a breeze from time to time, a breeze that you don't need when it's this cool. Highs in those low 60s to upper 50s across the entire area because of this cool air wedge that we have had building in the last 24 hours. Out of here in the next 24 hours, though, and upping our temperatures, but still keeping in some rain chances. Now, I will say we're not going to be as nasty, widespread, rainy in general into the coming days. We're going to be much warmer. Upper 70s to low 80s with rain chances still continuing, isolated Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday with some thunderstorms before we do clear out into the weekend. We get back to sunnier conditions, warmer conditions with highs in the low 80s for the upstate over the weekend. Just downright beautiful. We just have to get there over the next several days. Let's take a look outside, though, now and see what's going on in Spartanburg with Chris Scott again.
Yeah, we've been following a crash from earlier.
Really focusing off towards the east into Pauline, West Springs, Union, Whitmire, and Clinton cross anchor area, and built outside of that some just light rain, and that was the moderate showers that we talked about earlier, of the names at least I was calling off. That pairs with cloudy conditions, therefore we are not warming up much, guys. You may notice that if you've been outside. Temperatures in the low to mid 50s, mid to upper 50s across the upstate. Next 12 hours, just kind of a nasty Tuesday. There's really no other way to put it, to be honest. Upper 50s around noon, and then we get to the low 60s. Woo, that's where we really reach our high temperature as we go through the day, with cloud cover sticking around up again until this evening, and then we get back to the rain chances, building in with a better chance of some much warmer temperatures as we go into tomorrow. But let's take a look at what's going on the roadways here with Chris Scott this morning, now that it is 8:31. Chris, how's it looking out there?
All right, just getting updates on a couple of accidents here for you. Let me get you going on what's happening here. We're getting this word of a crash over in Anderson.
At least widespread wet round of rain here. Say that 5 times fast. Hometown highs are going to be much cooler because of this cold air wedge and cloudy conditions. Low 60s to upper 50s today. So Gaffney 58 degrees in Cowpens as well. Low 60s towards Moore into Belton and Liberty and Seneca. And then 50s to 60s into the mountains. Again, this cool air wedge really setting up the last 24 hours, eroding though in the next 24 hours and bringing in that warmth back into play. Changes ahead, going from highs in the low 60s, cool and cloudy today, to a little bit more sunshine into your Wednesday. Warmer and drier, and that's going to help us reach the upper 70s to low 80s. Now, we're not going to have washout conditions, but you may need some backup plans specifically on Friday with our best chance of rain, but our best chance of severe potential could come tomorrow just due to one of those isolated storms coming up from the south into Anderson, Lawrence, and Greenwood, bringing in some damaging winds, potentially that nice afternoon break, though. At least we're not getting wet during this time frame. Now, it's not going to be a nice day. Still going to want that extra layer throughout the day in general. One with a hood to come, though, by the afternoon towards the evening. You can see picking up rain widespread when people are headed home from work, and then into the nighttime. But we'll talk about how this cool air wedge does erode when the 80s return, and about 1 to 4 o'clock, and then we're back to the showers building in from the west, moving into northeastern Georgia, Pickens and Oconee County. You can see once again by about 5, 6 when people are headed home from work, spilling and becoming more widespread, moving off towards the east in general by about 7 o'clock. So 5 to 8, 9 o'clock, we're really going to see our next round of rain before we do clear out. It's going to come with cooler conditions because of that cold air wedge. So much cooler and cloudier, only amounting to highs in the low 60s to the upper 50s, where, if you recall, it's kind of where we started already this morning for some of us. Here's that cool air wedge that's been building in the last 24 hours, moving out into the next 24 hours with warmer air on the way. How warm? About a 20-degree jump. So here we go into your Wednesday. Highs in the upper 70s to the low 80s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It does come still with a rain chance, but nothing like what we're going to see today. Today is just extremely wet, cloudy, and cool because of that wedge. Tomorrow we get this stationary front to bring in some warmer conditions, some more humid conditions, a little bit more moisture. Thursday and Friday, this cold front pulls on through, and eventually it's going to clear us out, leading to a beautiful weekend, lots of sunshine. We do have a red day highlighted on Wednesday with scattered thunderstorm chances in the forecast here for us, because we could see some low-end severe threat for areas south of 85 due to damaging winds and that potential for hail. But otherwise, look at the weekend, clearing Thursday, not Thursday and Friday, but after Thursday and Friday, leading to some warmer conditions Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and a whole lot of sunshine headed our way. Guys, back to you. Low 60s is where we tap out for the highs today. Seeing some rain maybe trickle on in the next several hours, but I do think we're looking much drier with our next bit of widespread rain into this evening. So cool, cloudy, and damp today. We'll talk about when the 80s return and more chances of rain throughout the week coming up later, guys.
All right, Catherine, 9:30 on the dot, and a first alert this morning. An employee at a popular upstate coffee shop is duped into giving away thousands of dollars to a scammer impersonating the police. Here's what we know so far. Take a look at your screen. Spartanburg police say
Those showers to build back in for us into northeastern Georgia, into Pickens and Oconee County, and then 5 to 7 becoming widespread across the upstate. So when people are headed home, we're going to have more damp, soggy roadways on that time frame up until the overnight. Then we would start to get much dry air to build on in. Hometown highs today, they are cool. We are cloudy out there because of this cool air wedge as mentioned. So a low 60 today. This is, yes, well below average. Low 60 into Moore and Union, upper 50s into Cowpens and Gaffney, 61 into Belton towards Liberty, 63 for Abbeville and 96, and then the mountains in the low to mid 60s and those upper 50s. Here it is, that cool air wedge that's been building in, and we're going to see it erode. We're going to get this much warmer air into play over the next 24 hours. How much warmer? Going from the low 60s today and cool to straight up warm tomorrow, back to the upper 70s to low 80s. Your washout potential, let's just say no other day is going to look like what we have going on today. Whether it comes to the cloudiness, the cool temperatures, or the rain, but we still have a good chance of seeing some rain into Wednesday, Thursday, and more so into Friday. Probably looks the best on Friday over the next several days. We do have a chance of maybe seeing some severe weather. We do get those temperatures to rise, the heat and humidity, and with this area south of 85 from Anderson towards Lawrence, this is tomorrow, we could see maybe 1 or 2 strong to severe storms, with damaging winds and isolated hail being the number 1 and number 2 threats, and that's why Wednesday is highlighted red. Thursday and Friday